Well, I tell you what, I know it's been a couple of nights. I hope that you missed me all as much as I missed you. It's truly an honor to be back with you. And we got a lot to talk about. So, this is your first time here. Welcome to the Honest Truth Live Truth Seekers podcast. We talk about a lot of things, and we're starting to kind of change the tone, change the shift, or shift the narrative of a lot of things we start talking about. We're starting to kind of watch and make sure our image is right for the camera before the camera comes on. It's okay. I got peanut butter all up in my mouth. Yo, I want to first and foremost just thank you and send a huge shout out to everybody that's emailed me, stayed in contact with me, reached out to me, checked on me, texted me, called me, whatever it might be. I want to thank y'all first and foremost for everything. Y'all mean the world, and we got a lot of stuff going on in the background that we're working towards. And so some of you know that, and I appreciate y'all supporting. First and foremost, I have to share that. Secondly, I want to thank everybody that's continued to support the channel through contributions and donations. Y'all mean the world. But I just had to let those two groups of people know off bat. Now, we have a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about Travis Scott. And I talked about a lot of types of concepts that we're going to discuss tonight. But the reason I decided to talk about this is because, once again, we are going to start shifting the tone and changing the narrative a little bit on this channel, but it's still going to be based in the roots of a lot of the fundamental concepts that we grew in and that we know ourselves in here. So we're going to talk about this Astroworld concert and the human psychology, or the implications of human psychology or human nature that often we can see in a lot of instances in our community, which is the Black community. However, this is the first time I think an incident has happened to where there's been a merge of a lot of different communities in one certain place or environment, right? And for things to just go completely horribly wrong, for there to be ultimate pain, mayhem, and pandemonium, right? So it's a very interesting thing. We're going to talk about this tonight. All right, we're going to talk about this. I know it's about time, right? Good to see you all back in here. Before we do, let's go ahead and give our day to the day, right? National holiday. First and foremost, national holidays. I want to give a huge shout out to Jaleesa Monet in the building. I appreciate that. Jaleesa Monet's in the building. Let's share the screen really quickly. This is going to be a really interesting live stream. We got a lot of videos to watch tonight, so stick with me. Stick with me. Today is Area Code Day. I don't make the holidays up. I just report them for y'all. Today's Area Code Day. So be proud of your area code. Forget Me Not Day. This is something to do with military. So Forget Me Not Day. International Accounting Day. Shout out to the accounting majors. I don't know how you graduated. Marine Corps' birthday. I guess today's the day that the Marine Corps was started. Shout out to everybody that's in uniform and servicing the country, both here and abroad. National Vanilla Cupcake Day. I can get behind that. Sesame Street Day. 90s and 80s babies stand up. And Science Day for Peace and Development. All right. So that's the holidays today. Let's move on to this. Who is Travis Scott? If you don't know who Travis Scott is, he's an artist. He's a musical artist. He's a rapper. He's with Kylie Jenner, right? He has a child with her, I believe, as well. Pretty popular person. He's affiliated with the Kardashians, Kim Kardashian, the Jenner family, and things of that nature. And he does music. Really talented guy. Well, he had a concert a couple of nights ago. I think it was 4, maybe even 6 nights ago now. I'm not sure. And there were about 8 deaths. However, this is all going to be very speculative type of information here. Okay, this is all very speculative information. There were some deaths there. The number is not really fully known. The news is reporting it's 8 deaths. Other outlets are reporting it's 11 deaths. People are reporting it's hundreds, according to eyewitness accounts. But once again, there's a reason I'm talking about this today, and I want you to bear with me as we kind of just dive into this. So let's go ahead and take a look at a typical Travis Scott concert. This is a typical Travis Scott concert. All right. Now, typically his concerts are very, very, very serious, if you will. Right. All right. I'm going to turn the music down. You're not going to be able to hear anything right now, but I just want you to kind of observe the crowd at this concert. All right. This is a typical Travis Scott concert. I'll rewind it right here. All right, so observe the crowd here. Now, this is a pretty handled well concert in this case. I guess you could say there's a separation, a divide for security for people who aren't doing that well. And I didn't know this, but when you go to concerts that are this size, there's a certain decorum. There's a certain way that you have to do things. And if you don't do things a certain way, then it could be very bad for you. For instance, when you're in a crowd of this size, you have to have either water on you. You have to have been extremely hydrated to begin with. You're not supposed to drink alcohol. There's a lot of precursors and a lot of things that you have to take care of before you go to a concert or a festival, because once you're in a crowd this size, you can't get out. Once again, we're speaking about this for a reason, and I'm talking about this concept for a reason. There's going to be metaphorical references and analogies that I give as far as what our plight is and a lot of the things that we talk talk about here. But what ends up making this concert so fun is what ends up being so destructive about it. And it's the same idea or essential concept of water being essential for your survival. You need water to survive, right? We need water to drink to survive. But if you have too much water and you don't know how to swim, that could also be your demise. Unfortunately, your untimely demise. God forbid, right? Gruesome imaging. But I want you to understand this fundamental concept before we move forward. So I'm going to try and play some music. Y'all let me know if you can hear the music. If you can hear the music, then that would be great. If you can't, then let me know as well. One, if it sounds good with my mic. Two, if it doesn't sound good with the mic. And if you prefer to have no music at all, it's the same haunted little music that you've heard a long time ago. We'll start playing it in a second. All right, so give me a couple minutes. All right. So let's show a couple links of this really quickly. And we're going to show a couple of people describing what they saw as well. But in order to kind of really get you to understand what happened this concert, I got to show you what typically happens at a Travis Scott concert. They're typically pretty wild, but this was a different level. All right. All right. First video is going to come to us from Twitter. Lots of videos tonight, so stick around. Lots of videos tonight. Lots of crazy videos. Volume warning. All right. Difficult to get a man out. So what you see here is security pulling a guy out, right? This is a decent sized guy. It looks like two guys are trying to pull him out. Now, what's going on at these concerts that you can't see, there's a wave of people behind you, right? And they're pushing and pushing and pushing. Some of you have been on the channel for a long time. You've heard the analogy that I've kind of really used a lot at this point, but it's when there's a golden pot at the end of the rainbow, but it's hanging on the edge of a cliff, but you don't know it's the edge of a cliff until you get there. So there's a lot of people running to this pot because let's just say the whole town's been told about this golden pot that's at the end of this rainbow. It's in the secret location. And so everybody starts running and charging towards it. Well, by the time that the first people who get to the pot first get there and they recognize that it's on the edge of the cliff and they turn around and they recognize that there's also a lot of people running behind them, then there's nothing they could do at that point because you're talking about possibly what? I don't know, 6 or 7 horsepower on the strength of men versus an entire village, right? It's just going to be boom right off of the cliff. As more people continue to keep up that circle, that hamster wheel of evolution, just more people falling off and off the cliff. Well, that's what happens at concerts. So when you show up to these venues, and particularly people that are this popular, people want to get as close as they can to the front, naturally, right? Everybody does. However, since that happens, it creates this sensation of pushing. And if you're not a very physically strong person, if you're not a very mentally tough person, if you haven't ever experienced a crowd like this, like a 9-year-old boy who was recently died because he fell off of his father's shoulders. We'll talk about that in a second, right? If you haven't ever been in a crowd like this, then this can really, truly be your demise. I haven't felt crowding like this, but let's move on for a second as we continue to kind of talk about this, all right? So he's trying to pull this guy out of the crowd. Grown man. So he can't even pull him out right now, right? All right. So he barely got him out. We'll rewind this and I'll keep talking. He can barely get him out. It's just 2 grown men. Now, this security guard's not a small security guard. He's a pretty decent sized guy. Pretty decent sized guy. A couple more people have to help him out, right? Now, this is a grown man here. There were teenagers at this concert, right? There were teenagers at this concert. Stick with me. This is interesting. Stick with me. A lot of people alluded to a lot of spirituality and things like that happening this evening, but I'm just going to talk about the nature of humans tonight because I think it's time we start talking about the true nature of humans and really starting to hold everybody accountable at this point. We're going to start to we're going to need to start having these discussions at this point because we have to, right? There's another video. This is apparently somebody screaming in the crowd for help. This is going to be a bit morbid and graphic. So if you're sensitive, maybe not listen to this, but you can listen to the crowd. Right?
Before we keep going, hold on.
Okay, hold on. That's not the right video. I'm sorry. One second. I'm sorry. Okay, well, that's supposed to be the video where somebody says they can't breathe. So I think I used the wrong link. But anyways, you can hear a lot. somebody clearly screaming, right? I can't breathe. Right? No, I'm not putting the blame on anybody in this situation. Obviously, people died, passed away. This is Travis Scott's concert. This is his management's concert. And there apparently were a lot of EMTs and professional people there. Maybe there weren't enough. I don't know, whatever it might be. Once again, stick with me. All right. This is very interesting. Now, there were a group of kids who essentially tried to stop this concert, right? Because they saw that there were people being pulled out of the crowd. They saw that it was getting a bit too crazy, right? So they approached. They tried to stop it. But when you try and stop something that a lot of people don't really understand has really immense danger to it inherently, when you try and stop something that people passionately fight for, and they really feel in their hearts and their minds that they're willing to die for it, to get the little taste of the experience, to live what they think in their minds is a true piece of heaven. When you fight against that, then you're going to be met with all kinds of wrath and passion, and you're going to be met in a position to where you really can't outmaneuver the masses as far as just their passion and their strength as a collective goes, right? And this was kind of the situation as far as a lot of things that I've observed over this past couple of months, but in particular this Travis Scott concert. When you decide to go against the masses, when you decide to go against the authority in this case, then you're going to be fought against. All right, you're going to be fought against. So let me try and play this video one more time, see if I can get my facts straight here. Also, we're going to play a pretty graphic video again in a second, and I don't want to ward some of you off. So in about 2 minutes, I'll warn you again. If saying things on camera that are pretty graphic isn't your thing, then I'd advise you to not watch this. All right. I advise you to not. So this was a girl who, and you'll hear the story in 1 second. It's a fascinating story. Who walked up to the stage and she tried to shut the concert down. So let's check this out for a second.
That's okay with you, real quick. Take me this door.
Now, I'm gonna pause it here. You're gonna see a video with this guy, and that's his girlfriend actually on the stage, and this is very interesting here, right? Let me go ahead and just give you the reason why I'm talking about this right now. Right now, and Organic Black said, so for tonight's topic, it's black men's fault, right? No, not necessarily. It's not conspiracy theories or anything like this, but I want you to understand a lot of people are not quite getting the outrage from this and why this is blown up to such a magnificent proportion as far as this incident goes, right? This incident goes. The Travis Scott concert, the Astroworld situation, the madness, the pandemonium. I'll play another video for you really quickly. Go ahead and once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you are sensitive, then I wouldn't watch this video, right? YouTube might go ahead and give me a strike for this one too, but it's necessary. This is the Astroworld concert, right? This is just a few seconds, a 13-second clip. So this is CPR being done, right, on people who are just at the concert, right? Just CPR being done on them while people are dancing. Very interesting. Very interesting, right? So you have people trying to shut down the stage, shut down the show, and they're being met with people who don't necessarily care that the ship is sinking, right? They're just dancing, and they're happy to see Travis Scott. They're happy to see their leader, their person that in their minds is the moral authority, their person that in their minds is the ones that are going to lead them to the promised land. The person in their minds is the one who's going to end up really fulfilling that moment in their lives when they can finally connect the dots, when they can finally connect themselves to their place in the cosmos, to be able to experience what they feel like they can't just live without, right? Now, this could be applied to a lot of people who see a varied range of whether it be influencers, whether it be content creators, whether it be any role model or public figure, persona, athlete, musical artist, rapper, musician, doctor, whatever it might be, if we can apply this to everybody, because at the end of the day, so long as you continue to idolize people who aren't of good moral character and faith, the end result will always be the same. It'll always be destruction in some sort or another. Right, in some sort or another. It's the natural fabric of things. It's the natural fabric of the wrinkle in time that you live in that particular moment, because the natural uh, energy of that person lends itself over to said destruction. Right. So going back to Travis, I'm not necessarily blaming Travis and saying that he's a horrible person. I'm not saying anything like that. Last thing I want to do is be sued by Travis Scott. What I am saying, however, is that there was such a demand for his product. There was such a demand for what he was saying, for who he was as a person, at this particular moment in time. It didn't matter if people were literally dying right behind you, because I needed to feel that music so strongly. I needed to connect spiritually to this person. I needed to finally take in so strongly that even life being lost behind me isn't really important enough for me to stop and just take a conscious second to think what the hell I've gotten myself into, or where I'm at in that moment in time, right? And that's a very dangerous place to be in life. Now, this doesn't just happen at a Travis Scott concert, but this can happen at a varied array of stages in life, whether you're just now getting or going into college and you're starting to experiment with a lot of different people that you shouldn't experiment with, or drugs you shouldn't experiment with, because you feel like you want to experience the college experience, or whether you're getting ready to graduate and you say, you know what, I want to go ahead and take a road off the beaten path. I want to do things a bit differently. I want to do this. I want to do that. There's nothing wrong with taking a road off the beaten path. But at some point or another, you need to wake up and really realize the true nature of the chaos of the world that you place yourself in. And I think that's what I've been kind of doing for the past week or so. You haven't been hearing as much from me. And I've been just really retrospectively, introspectively, whatever respectively words you want to apply there, looking at my life and really making sure that the steps that I'm taking to, in my eyes, really provide a service, to really provide an experience, to really provide an accurate moment in time that I feel like can be, when I'm dead and gone, said that this is the type of person that I am, something that I feel like I'm here to do, something that I can't leave this earth without doing, right? I can't not go to a Travis Scott concert. I can't not be a content creator at this moment in time. But at some point or another, you got to realize when things start happening that you might need to start altering the game plan a little bit. And if you don't alter the game plan a little bit, then things continue to dwell into chaos. So let's go ahead and move on. I want to hear a story from this young lady who was at this concert, Jazz and Justice, with the $20 super sticker. I appreciate that, Jazz and Justice. Thank you so much for the donations. I know I see some words about the demonicism, the demonic energies of this concert. We'll talk about that in a second. I got a couple interesting pictures of that too, but let's listen to an interview that this young lady did, and she will touch on it. You're right on the money for the commenter who said the comment about, you know, demons possibly being a part of this concert, or in this energy, or this whatever it might be. So let's take a listen.
You couldn't breathe. You couldn't see. Like,
oh, it's a guy.
Just imagine all the people they're going to find tonight who was in that crowd, who nobody could see, who nobody could hear, who passed out, and everybody was just trampling on top of them the whole fucking concert. Like, I'm thinking it's probably going to be like at least 100 people who dead tonight. Like, I kid you not. Like, in the VIP section, it was so many bodies laid out. People was getting pulled out who was fainted. And the people were the medics were trying to give them CPR, and they was flipping them over, and like they was literally turning black and blue. Like I never seen death in my fucking life, bro. Just by me alone, it was probably like 10 fucking people laid out dead. And like once the medics tried to help them, they wasn't responding. They moved to the next person. It was nothing they could have do. Like this shit really fucked me up and like really spooked me tonight. Like that was like some demonic shit. Like, and what was so crazy, like people were screaming help, trying to tell Travis Scott. They was like, help. The whole crowd was just going like, help, help, help. And he just kept going, bro. It was like, that shit was scary, bro. It was so demonic, bro. And mind you, y'all see the type of music I make. Y'all see everything. Like, you know, like I've been so heavily influenced by Travis. But like, after tonight, bro, like, God really showed me, like, you know, like, stay away from that shit, bro. Like, that shit not for you, because, like...
So he said, I've been heavily influenced by Travis. I do music, yada, yada, yada. I understand completely what he's talking about. And this is why I talk so often about the danger of YouTube and the danger of really placing authority and giving authority to certain people. But the problem with the internet is that the internet doesn't recognize character flaws. The internet doesn't disparage, or it doesn't, you know, knock you down based off of character flaw. The internet recognizes talent, and it recognizes hustle amongst a lot of other different business traits. And it'll reward you if you're passionate passionate enough, or if you're talented enough, or if you're hustling enough to get yourself into a place of position. However, the danger is exactly what this kid's talking about right now. I'm not saying that Travis Scott is a horrible person. Maybe he legitimately didn't know just how far things were getting out of control. However, there's been plenty of instances. For instance, there's a concert called I think it's EDC concert, 200,000, 300,000 people. It used to happen every year. I think it's 2 nights. 95% of the people are on serious hardcore drugs. Nobody dies, right? So I do need to make sure that we are placing accountability once again, though, on the importance of having infrastructure, having systems in place, and having your things and your ducks in a row ready for when you need to perform at a certain level, right? I want to say again, I think the reason that this incident was really blown up as big as it was because we've seen a lot of different groups of people come together and experience a lot of things that they haven't experienced. The trauma that a lot of our people do and have experienced growing up, right? I hate to say this, and I don't mean to demean any of the tragic losses. Everybody that died was under the age of 30 at this concert, including a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old, right? Young kids, right? So I don't mean to demean, but why it's such a shocker is because we don't see tragedies where it's just mass children, especially kids of multi-races or white children just dying all of a sudden. We just don't see that often, not inside of the United States of America. And so when you see it at something that's a concert or a rap concert or an entertainment venue, it's just like the last type of thing that you would think to experience happen here. However, in Black communities, there are a lot of kids, there are a lot of girls who go missing that are killed, that are shot, right? This happens, and we've seen this on the channel. As a matter of fact, if this is your first time here, this is what the channel has been primarily about. However, we are shifting the gears, but trying to still remain where we were and where we are with the general theme of the message. So let's go forth here. He said he felt like it was a demonic experience. A lot of people said this as well. A lot of hip hop artists use this imagery, right? I know a lot of you do and practice different arts, and you're mystics, and some of y'all are witches and things of that nature. I'm not pushing any kind of spirituality on anybody. I'm just saying that I do believe that things in this world can and do happen that we can't see, right? That's all I'm saying there. That's all I'm saying there. Right. Let's watch another video really quickly. So watch a few more videos, and then I'll kind of move on. Sorry, I'm not looking at the chats right now, y'all. I'm just trying to make sure that the videos that I'm playing are actually the right video. So what started this all? This is a video of the fans breaking through the barrier. All right, this is the trip. Now, what's interesting about this? Once again, what's interesting about this? XXL Magazine shared this video. Let's put this on the top. What's interesting about this is ultimately the problem was caused by the very people that are outraging for a solution. So let me say this again. The problem and the tragedy of Astroworld was partly responsible by Travis Scott maybe not having enough people responsible for security, whatever it might be, right? I can honestly say that. All things removed, though, since they weren't there, the responsibility is then placed on the people in this case, right? Rule and govern yourselves, or at least try to adhere to some semblance of rules, because we operate in a society that's based off of rules, checks, and balances. So when it became overcrowded, when there were 100,000 tickets sold in, I think, 30 minutes, right? And who knows how many people were in this crowd, when it became overcrowded and issues started to arise, it was primarily the people's fault. Now, we can put the blame on Travis, and I know I'm getting a lot of heat, whatever it might be. I'm fine with the heat at this point. We can place the blame on whoever we want to place the blame on. There's a lot of people that it falls as far as this goes. But at this particular moment in time, while this barrier is going down, this became the people's issue because they became their greatest enemy at this case. And this is something that, once again, I've been thinking about for this past week, assessing really who is and what is an enemy. What's the definition of an enemy? Because it's camaraderie. Let's help break this fence down. Let's help get to our goal and our destination. Because if we can get to our goal and our destination, then we can see this thing out together. We can see this thing out. We can live what we want to live so terribly and so badly. And so you form this camaraderie and destruction. And through this destruction, you think that this is your purpose in life, and all your senses are heightened and elevated, and you're running through the fence and you're like, man, this is awesome. This is great. But lo and behold, you don't know that you're just kind of sailing to the bottom depths of the ocean. For those of you who've been watching for a long time, you're headed to the bottom and you don't understand just how bad it is at the bottom. You don't understand how cold it is, but you're headed there and you're running there with excitement, with frenzy. And I'm not blaming any of these kids, because this is not these kids' fault. These kids are doing exactly what these kids essentially should be doing. But I'm just, once again, making a metaphorical reference and analysis to what I've been thinking about and experiencing and seeing in these YouTube streets, what I've been seeing happening. And I thought that this Travis Scott concert was a peculiar parallelism as far as what we can kind of compare and contrast certain situations between a varied amount of content creators, both in real life and on YouTube as well. All right. So we're going to keep on playing this out. I wish that these kids could have just went and had fun. But once again, if you as a leader do not have your infrastructure, your management together, and people end up doing, in this case, kids end up doing what kids do, then sometimes, and in this case, unfortunately, the worst of times, things bad can happen. Now, look at the ages of children that you see running in here. Unfiltered. I saw a little short girl. She looked like she was like 10 or 11 years old. I saw a little short boy. Looked like he was probably 12 or 13 years old. And all the rest of them, like they're like 14 or 15 years old, right? So they're all kids, with grown people as well. Now, let me show you this video. This is a trip. I need you to understand this, right? I need you to understand this. This is crazy, right? This is crazy. I don't know if I'm going to say that right now, actually. I'm not gonna say that right now. All right, so I found a group of guys. So I just said, obviously, you know, there are guys in this concert too, grown men, right? These guys were at this concert. So check this out. We have I don't even know how old, you know, young girls with guys like this at this concert. Anyways, the point of this video is describing what they experienced. Now, these are two grown men, obviously, big dudes, and just check this out.
And most people at most Travis shows, I feel like, know that. At this one, I feel like it was way too many people. It was way too many people that didn't know that, possibly, more than likely. And it just got crazy for everybody up there that was basically getting sacrificed.
Were you guys getting pushed too?
Oh my God, yeah. I probably caught like 20 elbows to my head in the mosh pits.
Yeah, I got a bloody lip. My legs all bruised up.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, it's normal for us. We're used to it. But like I said, there was other people there that really couldn't handle it. They were panicking in the crowds. I was trying to keep some of them calm because they're skirmishing. They're trying to wiggle their way out. I usually create elbow room just to try to get some breathing space. I couldn't even get no elbow room. My hands were actually crushing my chest, so I was panicking a little bit. That's when I finally got out.
So you guys are being pushed. I mean, literally packed in where you can barely even move your arms.
Like,
yeah.
You're so packed in, you feel like you can't breathe sometimes. You know, even if this event was outside, and we're so compressed that it's like you feel like you can't breathe. You know?
Yeah, like if I was standing here and I'm trying my hardest to push away from my body and I can't, and my hands are just coming back
like
in.
Right here,
my hands are just literally coming back in and getting pressed on my chest. Yeah. So imagine. I could literally see somebody not being able to breathe in that situation and literally just passing out or maybe stop breathing and die. Like I could easily see how that would happen.
And you firsthand saw.
All right. Right. So grown men having trouble in this situation. Of course, kids are going to have trouble. No parent knows that. No kid knows that. They'll know going forward. And obviously, this is probably going to be addressed differently going forward in the future. The damage is done for now, however. Why am I talking about this? At the end of the day, the immediate solution to this tragedy was some of the very people that are enraged online, some of the very people that jumped over the fence or helped to burst the gates down. The solution, unfortunately, in this case, was some of the kids who were the part of the problem, right? So it's like you're sharing the same interests. You're all in the same boat. You're all trying to get to the same place. But you're paddling so vicious together. You're also passionate that you're not even paddling correctly, A, but B, you fail to navigate. Let's just say you hit something in the water. All of a sudden, there's no more boat. There's no more destination at this point because you were so enthralled, right? Now, I want to talk about something else. This is another side of it. And this is something that I've also kind of seen happen as far as content creation goes, right? There were a lot of people who went to that Travis Scott concert and they had a great time. They had the time of their life. A lot of people didn't see anything. And quite frankly, they, even after hearing, even if they didn't experience anybody passing out, dying in front of them, even after hearing about it, it's still not really enough justification for them to feel anything about that, right? It's not enough justification for them to actually not have the train of thought, well, oh, maybe they were on a drug. Hey, maybe they didn't have enough water. Maybe they should have thought about it. Hey, maybe it was their first festival, so they shouldn't have gone to a Travis Scott concert, right? So you have a lot of people that are kind of in that train of thought. And this brings on another interesting concept. This brings on another point of perspective, right? A lot of people had the times of their life that night, even as people died. We talked about that a little bit earlier, right? They aren't fazed at the fact at all that people lost their lives. It doesn't bother them. Victim blaming, sociopathic, psychopathic parts of our population. But thanks to the internet, they routinely share their psychopathic and sociopathic tendencies for the rest of us. However, thanks to the internet as well, they are able to build a community of psychopaths and sociopaths to relish in. All right? There's all kinds of reasons to blame those who lose their lives, to blame those who try to legitimately have a good time, right? Who don't understand maybe the danger of what they're going into, right? There's always something to say. Maybe the kid's parents shouldn't have let them go. Maybe this, maybe that, maybe this, maybe that. Travis, maybe this, maybe that. At the end of the day, everybody had a choice to make. Everybody had a choice to make. And the problem is, at a certain point, even if everybody tries to get on the same accord and make that choice in unison, it's too late. That's the biggest problem with the Travis Scott concert. It's the biggest problem with the Astroworld situation. Is that those who are trying to shine the light of just how dangerous the situation was becoming were shut out. Time and time again. No, shut up. We don't want to listen to you right now. No, it's all right. No, it's cool. No, it's fine. We're going to keep on partying. Hey, do your thing. Do your thing. I'm going to go ahead and head out. Right. But it's only going to get worse from there. You had a warning. You had a warning. I've had warnings in life, and I think it's interesting when we get warnings. It depends on what kind of warning it is, right? I've had warnings in life, and sometimes I listen, sometimes I don't. To my demise, a lot of the times it's been, I've found out. But a lot of times we get warnings, and if we don't start to change the trajectory, or at least look into it a little bit to determine or to deem its credibility, we'll start to kind of really dig ourselves a lot deeper into this grave, this grievous, unescapable grave, this black hole, this supermassive black nova star hole, whatever it might be, that's just sucking in everything, including gravity, light, and it's taking everything from you, and it's just conquering your soul, your spirit, your essence, and it's removing everything that you thought was whole, good, wholesome, and holy inside of you, and you fail to understand. You're looking, you're thinking, you're saying, what's going on, what's going on, what's going on, what decision did I make wrong, when you had a warning, and you're still kind of standing in the party because you think that's the place that you're supposed to be in life, when in reality, life's showing you very vividly and very brightly that even though you paid $400 for this Travis Scott ticket, even though certain things have been all fine and dandy up until that very moment in time, even though your songs have been played on the radio and you heard that frequency that just hit and those 808s were jamming and there were a lot of people that were smoking and it felt good and you were drunk and you were lit, but the moment you ran out of resources and you realized the mess and the people that might be surrounding you, I've heard people were in the crowd injecting people with needles. I've heard other people were passing around dollar bills that had fentanyl on them. I heard people were passing around dollar bills that had acid on them. I heard people were groping children in the crowd. I heard women were getting raped in the crowd. I heard a million things that were happening. By the time you realize that not everybody is exactly on the same accord as you, it's sometimes it's too fucking late. That's the danger with the Travis Scott concert. Sometimes you get warnings in life. Our parents are supposed to be one of those warnings. Our guardians are supposed to be one of those warnings. A lot of kids don't have guardians. It's something that happens in the black community a lot. We don't have kids that have guardians that are telling them, that are showing them, that are giving them the accurate direction, that are showing them, that are giving them example how to live life, how to get through, why education is important, why this, why that. And then they run into something that happens at the end of the way, and they'll look back at the end of their life, and the kid doesn't understand. It's not his fault. It's not his problem to understand. The guardians don't understand. The public society doesn't understand. But at the end of the day, there were warnings that were given to this children that society was supposed to listen to, adhere to, and start to guide this children to a better circumstance or environment, because there was no infrastructure like there was at Astroworld, like there is in Blackistan, like there is in a lot of parts in America, like there is that happens in a lot of parts of certain work environments, because there wasn't any infrastructure there. The damage was already done once the lack of infrastructure was ignored. The second certain things weren't taken care of at that concert by the security, by Travis, by the organizations, there was nothing that could be done. It didn't matter the character or the quality of the people, because the very fundamental building blocks of that concert were making sure that the entire pyramid, that the entire king, the entire whatever it might be palace was going to collapse, right? It's the importance of having good leaders and good infrastructure. You can like a person all day. You can love what a person says all day. You can love to listen to a person all day. Listen, I love it more than anybody else. I love trap music. I like Gucci Man. I like Jeezy. I like all that trap. I love real trap music. I like OJ the Juice Man. I do, right? I definitely do. But even if I listen to it now and I'm conscious about it, I'll find myself, even somebody who's conscious, who I think I'm pretty conscious, maybe I'm not, I don't know. I find myself, somebody who's a pretty conscious person, really starting to feel the energy, right? Feel the energy. And sometimes you don't know that you're feeling the energy. You just think that it's being you. You just think that you're hype. You just think that you're hype. You start becoming addicted to that energy rush, that dopamine rush, that sensation when you crank up that music, that sensation when you crank on YouTube, that sensation when you crank on your car, that sensation when you walk into this classroom, that sensation, whatever it might be, you become addicted to the sensation. And there might not even be anything wrong inherently with listening to rap every once in a while. However, when you become addicted to the sensation of something that can have the ability to negatively impact your life, then that becomes a bad thing. Even water, too much of water could be a negative thing. The sensation of inhaling or drinking too much water before your body can accurately process it or filter it, whatever it might be, can lead to your causation of leaving this earth permanently, right? So even a good thing that's necessary for survival, just as much as a bad thing that isn't necessary as much, can be bad for you. Everything in moderation. This includes food, whatever it might be. Anything of a good thing can be bad, right? Going back to this infrastructure thing. When you have a lot of people who aren't, and when you have people who aren't necessarily on the same moral code as everybody else, this is when infrastructure becomes very severely important. When you have people that have needles in the crowd, this is when your infrastructure becomes very important. When you have people that are roaming certain communities, certain areas, certain territories with children, like we saw at this concert, this is when your infrastructure becomes very important, because without good infrastructure, you are going to encounter tragedy. This is why this situation is very important. This is a tragic situation. However, it leads once again all the way back to the lack of infrastructure put out. Now, concerts have always been a very rambunctious and rowdy affair. People are always passed out at Michael Jackson concerts. Maybe a person has died at a Michael Jackson concert. I'm sure people have died at concerts before. However, we need to look at this situation in particular, because what happened at this particular concert is what we haven't seen at any other concert before. This is supposed to be a unification of people for one great goal, for one great accomplishment. This is supposed to be a unification of people who came. Jesus, look at me now. There's a lot of people. This is supposed to be a unification of people to experience a good thing, and somehow a negative thing managed to come out of a good thing. Now, the next series of train of thought could be this. Well, obviously, if there's a lot of people truth, then there could be bad things happening, right? Naturally, this is our next train of thought. Well, hey, bad things are going to happen. A lot of people, you have a higher chance. There's a higher propensity for something negative to happen. It's just how odds go, right? Roll the dice. Eventually, you're going to hit snake eyes. Yes and no. To some extent, yes, and to some extent, not. At the end of the day, we can't be arguing based off of things that might happen, based off of things that could happen, based off of if, ands, or buts. We can't start to place value on what could happen, especially when it's a negative thing. We have to do everything that we can in every situation that we are in, especially as leaders, to put our community in the best environment possible, and then respond once the negative things happen, not anticipate and wait for negative things to happen and then to react to the negative things and to say, oh, well, hey, we knew that this was going to happen because we kind of knew that this happened sometimes. We knew that these were sometimes the type of people that are here sometimes. Sometimes, sometimes you get a couple bad apples. And it's like, no, I think we should have had a couple more security gates at the very front, so maybe we could have caught a couple more of these bad apples. Maybe we should have spent an entire 12 hours telling people to get there 12 hours ahead of time, had a lot more seating. I don't know how you do something like this. I don't know the logistics. I don't know. I just know that at the end of the day, an excuse to say sometimes things just happen because people are just bad isn't necessarily always going to fly, man. Right? Travis Scott is being right now interrogated, or at least investigated, by the FBI. the federal government, by the FBI, as well as a lot of other people right now. He's trying to clean it up as best as he can, but ultimately, as the leader, even if he didn't know what was going on, because you were a leader of this organization, of this people, of this movement, of this entity, because you were the one that they looked to and because that they were here for, they're going to place you accountable, even if you didn't have any bad intentions. If you did have bad intentions, then yeah, you're going to be placed accountable all the same. Accountability is for all, right? Accountability is for all. Make no mistake about it. Whether now or later, everyone's held accountable. Everyone. It's just a matter of time. I've never been to a concert. To be honest, I'm not really that much of a crowd people person as much, but I'd go to a concert with y'all. So don't get me messed up. I'd go to a concert with y'all. I've never been to a concert, but I do plan on going to a concert one day. Not anything that size, obviously. And I'm going to definitely prepare, make sure I'm in the gym lifting weights. It seems like those who are bigger, who are in the crowds trying to help people out, were really trying to do their part and did a good job. Right? They helped a lot of people out, a lot of the bigger guys. You can research the situation, the story, and hear a little bit more of these people speak, talk, and give their experiences. I'm going to play some music for a second. If you can't hear it, then it's okay. Let me just see if I can. And we're going to see what it sounds like when I watch it on the replay because I'm curious. Hold on a second. Hold on one second now. Okay, so I know the screen's sharing right now. All right. Let me know if you hear it. Okay. I know I missed some comments. Blaine Melendez said, hey, caught my first live. I've been watching all the replays. Hey, Blaine, good to see you. I appreciate you catching your first live. I hope you've been enjoying it. It's a very interesting concept today, but we're going to start talking about a lot of stuff. So welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the panel. Welcome to the chat. Not to the panel. You're not on the panel yet. We're getting ready to open up the panel, but welcome to the stream. I'm glad you were able to catch it. I hope you're enjoying it. If there was anybody else that super chat, I'm sorry, y'all. Darlene, I see your super chat. Okay, I don't think I missed anybody. Darlene said, what you're saying is true. Thank you, Darlene. I appreciate that, and thank you for your contribution. There was anybody else that I missed, then I apologize. I'm going to open up the panel here, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more, the human implication or the humanity behind this concert, right? Let me put this. This is supposed to be a banner. Hold on. There we go. All right. Fudge. Okay, I got to do something too as well. Hold on a second, y'all. I'm supposed to be reading something, but I'm not prepared again. So I'm over the panel right now. Hey, thank you for joining us. What is it? I've been talking 45 minutes. Okay, cool. I've been talking for too long. I'm gonna try and email myself this. We'll say that in a second. And fine. All right, click the link. Want to hop up? I might have to keep you in the background because there's still a bit more I need to say, but. All right. All right, so let's continue here. Oh, fudge. I stopped sharing the dang music. Sorry, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say I'm trash. I'm sorry. Everybody's like, stop saying you're trash. My apologies. All right. Hopefully you can hear me. Okay, so I have a bit more to say. 1 second. My bad. Let's watch this. Oh, man, I got to stop sharing this so we can listen to this cat speak. So StreamYard has its advantages and its disadvantages, but it's okay. We'll work with it. All right, let's check it out.
His camera.
Shoulders to your face, hands over you. Like my girlfriend had someone putting their arm above them, trying to use them as leverage to get above the crowd. Like there's people just doing anything they could to just survive.
Within minutes of Travis Scott taking the stage,
we ended up falling down on our backs and people ended up falling on top of us.
The 18-year-old Heights High School senior says he fell back with his girlfriend and her best friend, Brianna Rodriguez.
And you're just like suffocating. You're like counting your last breaths.
Yeah, and you did too.
Yes, and I went to a state where I accepted that I was going to die.
As the crowd raged, Aiden prayed.
Prayed for him to accept me into heaven, you know. Accepting him as my Lord and Savior.
In that moment, a miracle. Aiden says he locked eyes with a friend who dragged him up from a pile of people. His girlfriend rescued too.
She's shaking, she's crying, and she's asking me where her friends are at. And I
so he prayed and accepted Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior. Hey, I'm not trying to get too spiritual on anybody. All right, I know a lot of people believe a lot of things. Let you be on a plane flight 35,000 feet on the air, and it starts shaking and the mask fall down from the top. You're gonna find out what you believe in real quick. You're gonna start praying to something or somebody. I don't mean to offend anybody, so y'all don't kill me here. Right. All right, I see somebody in the panel. Give me 1 second. I'm just trying to check one more video out before we start having this discussion, because I think I had one more video. That's an interesting one. I don't know why I was playing these, but all right, let me see. Hold on. 10 more seconds, y'all. My bad. Trash. All right. That's interesting. Tendai, I can't even bring you up, Tendai, right now. You got to turn your devices on, Tendai. So connect your camera, connect your microphone, and I'll bring you on. Look at this video. If you're listening on audio, if you're at work, then I'll describe it as best as I can for you. These are people that are trying to escape Astro. You see what I mean? They can't pull them out. There's so much force that you can't pull them out. Were they bolted those things into the ground or something? Now, my question is, why is Travis Scott just singing in the background like nothing's going on? I don't know if dude doesn't have good vision or he doesn't know what's going on, but people are like trying to leave for their lives, and dude's singing like Destiny Child on I don't know, like in the studio or something. It's crazy, right? Dude's like, the show must go on. F it, leave if you want to. Why am I playing you this? There are certain people who and this happens in a lot of different fields and a lot of different, areas of life. There are certain people who, because they're so heavily incentivized, whether it be by money, whether it be by fame, whether it be by, I don't know, think of whatever heavy incentivization program or whatever you can think of, right? There are some people who do not care if the world is crashing and burning around them, so long as they're able to eat. And there's even a reference in the Bible about this, what says, what good is it if a man gains the world so long as he loseth his soul, right? I think it's loseth. Maybe that's not even the word, but we're going to try and make it sound like I know the Bible, like I read it more than once a week. Jesus, right? So there are some people, though, that truly don't care if the world around them suffers, right? And as I'm watching this video, I'm reminded of this, and there's so many parallelisms when I'm watching and I'm interacting with certain people, whether online or offline, where I see they just don't care, because at the end of the day, as long as their bottom dollar is okay, so long as they're able to continue living on and they're able to continue their same quality of life, regardless of what the message they preach or not is poison, regardless of whether or not they're just trying to ensnare you into a trap. And if you knew this channel, I talk a lot about dating coaches, pickup artist coaches, about a lot of people who are these life coaches who try and tell you that you need to do and act a certain way in life, who try and tell you that you need to do and act a certain way to get into a relationship, who try and tell you that you need to follow a certain type of person because this, and that. Listen, you can follow whoever you want to at the end of the day. It doesn't matter to me. However, what always will remain true is that whoever you follow is going to lead you as a person based off of their character and transcribe their character and what they do in certain situations, how they handle certain situations, both emotionally, spiritually, whatever it might be, mentally, how they react or respond, right? Negatively react or positively respond in emotion, right, in the situation accordingly, based off of what they give you, based off of what you intake from them, based off of what you find so wise, so inertly, I guess, pleasing to you that you have to form or model your life around the words that they speak. And this is for every aspect of life, whether it be entertainers, aspect or authors, you know what I'm trying to say, blah, blah, blah. I'm completely messed up right now. So you are who you follow. You are who you follow. Absolutely. And the problem is a lot of times in society, we try and give people excuses. We try and say, oh, well, you know what? Hey, you know, I understand. Sometimes I just do this because, hey, I understand. I just listen to this music because, hey, I understand. I'm not really going on drive-bys. I just listen to this because, hey, I understand. I'm not really going and smacking. I just like to, hey, I understand. I'm not really going and doing this. I just like to kind of, you know, maybe on the W-2. And that's all fine and dandy. It's all fine and dandy until after so many W-2 little hinges, until so many shots, until so many times you get behind the wheel, until so many times you hear this song, until you're finally in this state, in this environment, in this energy, in this place that you can't really get out of, but you've been sucked into it because what's been putting you in that place the entire time, what's been leading you to your demise, was ultimately the end of your destination where you were trying to get to. Now you're there, but you're realizing that it's starting to become a very bad thing. Once again, this transposes to a lot of different elements in life. This can transpose to your relationships. If you're in a bad relationship with somebody and you knew that you loved this person and you wanted to be with this person, but they were just toxic as and you should have left them, but you continue to stay in this environment and then bad things continue to happen. You might have been physically abused. Is it your fault? No. Is it these kids' fault and problems that they were caught in the crowd, that a 9-year-old fell off of his dad's shoulder and he had kidney and spleen damage and he's gone right now? Is it his fault? Absolutely not. It's not his fault. Where does the fault begin, I guess, is the bigger question. But where does the fault end is the bigger question here. Where do we start to really address this gray area where we start to figure out how do we not let things like this happen? Are we going to just continue to chalk it up as the world being the world? Is that what the solution is at this point? I don't think that's the solution. I don't think that's the solution at all. Now, it's easy for us to say, oh, it's just the way it is because that's the way it is, because it's not you that's dealing with it. It's not you that has to sleep in the bed that's tormented every night. It's not you that lost a loved one. It's not you that's worrying about not being able to reach a loved one as you call them at the festival. So you don't want to hear that we just got to kind of accept that things like this happen. It's not you that's worrying sick about having your kid at a Travis Scott concert that he saw on Fortnite, a video game. It's not you that's worrying about your son, your child, your teenager watching these various content creators, these various people who are just despicable in quality and character inside of them, right? And they're just horrible people, but it's not you who's ultimately going to really feel the maybe you will as a parent ultimately, right? You could, but it's not you who's going to really feel the wrath that life's consequences are going to bring from following people who are not just and moral in their train of thought, because there are people who influence other people. There are people in the group who are popular in school. There are people in certain social circles that are just more drawn or led to them, and they have more natural attraction. Maybe they look better, whatever it might be. Certain people in society have natural influence, but when you have influence in society, it's a big responsibility. And if you abuse power, if you abuse influence to a certain level, and you're going to get the federal government coming down on you. If you abuse your position, if you're a bank teller and you start just slowly but surely taking $1 every day, well, maybe it's only $1, maybe it's only $20 a day. Maybe the bank doesn't even notice it because you're so good at doing it. But eventually, at some point or another, somebody's going to catch and notice. And even though it's only $20 a day, it didn't seem like it was that much. It adds up. It's just a matter of time until things finally start to add up. And this is what we start seeing in life right now. This is what happens in so many communities. This is why you can't have a political conversation with somebody nowadays, because they're just going to fly off the handle. They're just going to say, oh, you don't like this? Well, F yourself and go to hell. This is why you can't have a logical debate with somebody on anything that you disagree with, whatever it might be, because people are so passionate. People believe in what they believe in. People know what they know so deeply that if you come and try and change that, even if you have facts, even if you have actual points, even if you have statistical analyzations and points of perspective from other sides, if you have psychological perspective, if you have research, even if you have a PhD in psychology, you'll still be argued by people and by every single facet and aspect of society that is essentially fighting against you, trying to help them from not going and falling into the same concert of despair that a lot of these people fell into. Now, this isn't their problem, and this isn't their fault once again, but sometimes as kids, we do things that our parents tell us not to do. I've done things all the time. Hey, Jonathan, Don't do this. Don't do this. I remember one time specifically, I'll talk to the panel member who's here. Forgive me. I'm not even looking at that. I'm looking at the video right now. I remember one time specifically, though, and I'll show this video while I'm talking. I guess there's no point just looking at me the entire time. All right, hold on. I remember one time I was I was a kid, and it was 4th of July. And my parents, let me make this the smaller size. We were doing fireworks, and I had a neighbor across the street, and we were doing fireworks and yada, yada, yada. It was a beautiful day. And we were just lighting fireworks. And my mom said, hey, no more fireworks. Wait until nighttime because I don't want y'all to do anything bad. And you're going to light all the fireworks. I said, okay, cool. So I didn't listen. I decided to light another firework. Well, my neighbor across the street named Kyle lit his grass on fire. So that my neighbor's grass catches on fire. So we try and put it out. It's madness. Half of their lawn is burnt. His dad put it out. I didn't get in any trouble with, his dad. I got a lot of trouble when I got home. Now, we do things that we're not supposed to do, obviously, because we're kids. We just don't listen to the guidance. We don't listen. But this is where infrastructure, this is where actually having proper facilities in your communities, proper facilities and things of that nature in place to where when kids don't do what they're supposed to do, when people don't do what they're supposed to do, you still have place guards ready. You still have locking mechanisms ready. You still have the ability to curb the level of failure to at least hopefully bring it to some modicum of sub failure, a modicum of sub success to make sure the worst doesn't happen. But this is what we don't have in so many communities. This is what we don't have in so many conversations amongst our people. This is what we don't have in so many race relations. And this is why this is such a big issue, because this is everybody now. And it's not a problem until finally everybody's affected. It's not a problem until finally the global economy crashes. It's not a problem until finally everybody starts to go and just have all out war with each other. And then we're starting to wonder, where did the ball go wrong? What happened? What exactly, where did it all go wrong? Because we thought we were all on one accord. We were all here to see this concert. We were all here to do this. And then shit went to haywire, hell in a hay basket, hell in a whatever the quote is. I don't know, I'm making stuff up at this point. At the Thanos snap of a thumb. Somebody said they like when I snap. It's Thanos. I said that's pretty funny. Thanos was pretty cool. He was bad, so let me take that back. He was horrible. Thanos is horrible. So this is what we're experiencing a lot of now. This is what you've seen and you might have experienced in your workplace or whatever it might be. And the bad thing about these experiences is if we as a people aren't able to start just sitting down, having conversations with each other and just being completely honest about where we are headed. We're not being completely honest about things that we might need to really change in our immediate society and our immediate social circles. If we're not just being completely honest about things that we need to start changing in our immediate workplaces or family structure or life structure, if we're not starting to be completely honest with ourselves, situations like this are going to happen repeatedly throughout. Now, I understand, once again, we can argue semantics. Well, things are always going to be bad that happen in life. I get that. You can say that all you want to until it happens to somebody that you know. Then it's a problem. We don't want to get to that point. Let me see. The guest is not even here right now, so forgive me. I know I talked a lot, so forgive me, guest who came up here. I'm sorry. Hell in a handbasket, thank you so much. Dimitri said this is his 4th offense. To hell in a handbasket, thank y'all. Hay basket, handbasket. Close. Quick question. This is gonna be a side note. I got a cat. It's a stray cat. I don't know if somebody abandoned him or what, but it was 2 cats and they were crying outside of my neighbor's door. So I took them inside, fed them, gave them some tuna and everything like that. One of the cats, and I put them back outside. One of the cats left. This other cat's been crying for the past 3 hours. Full grown cat. Pretty nice. He was just under the bed the entire time. He's pretty scared of me, but he's still outside crying. So one in the chat, if you want me to adopt the cat illegally and pay the $250 pet deposit. 2 in the chat, if you think I should leave the cat outside and it's a cat that has claws and it can fend for itself. I don't know what to do right now. I'm conflicted. If I take it to the pound, maybe they'll put it down. Maybe I'm supposed to have this cat, right? It's a tough choice. Tough choices tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Tough choices tonight. This is a terrible situation, and this is a horrible situation. And in so many aspects of life, we're starting to just really understand and see that there's not that many places where it's just completely, utterly safe, right? You might be at a mall and experience trouble. You might be at a concert and experience trouble. You might be at a school and experience trouble. You might be at Walmart or Kroger's, Tom Thumb, whatever your preferred chain of shopping is. I know for our Northerners, there's some place called Myers. Shout out to everybody that knows about Myers. You might be anywhere and trouble might find itself to you. But the dangerous part right now is that we're starting to carve societies that you're going to find trouble both online and offline. And I want to talk about this Travis Scott situation, because the Travis Scott situation, once again, parallels what's going to start happening a lot more in our immediate communities and a lot more in our immediate conversations. Everything's becoming a lot more volatile. You're seeing the prices of things go up. You're saying this now. Maybe this is winter. Maybe it might be what it be. But the Great Depression happened. There was a true winter a long time ago. I don't think there'll ever be a Great Depression on that level that ever happens again. So as far as winter coming, who knows? I'm not sure. I don't think that'll ever happen on that level. But I do see that people are starting to change, and that people are starting to form and place their lifestyle, their belief systems, the future generations' mindsets and chains of thoughts in the values of people that do not value morality, that do not live lives that are not full of purity, that live lives of corruption, that live lives of theft, that live lives of violence, that predicate and that build foundations for future generations to come that are based off of everything that's negative, destructive, and immoral. And there's a large chunk of the population that seeks to follow and that loves to follow people like this. And we see this a lot in the Black community. We see this through pop culture. And this is why you think of a lot of Black icons who are really popular. You start thinking about Black people and what Black males offer to the culture and to the world. And you think about entertainment and things of that nature, right? And it's not necessarily a negative thing inherently, but it can be a very negative thing when the most popular facet of said culture tends to be more negative, tends to be more destructive. It can be a negative thing when the very stereotypical image of your culture tends to be more negative, tends to be more destructive. It can be a very negative thing when no other concert has had this amount of deaths happen before, and it just so happened to be a rap concert that does speak about glorifying death and violence. It can be a negative thing when it does reflect certain things that don't necessarily happen in other types of concerts, in other demographics of concerts, even though they might even get crazier, quote unquote, than a rap concert. It does start to bring and bear into question bear into discussion the question of accountability, and at what point do we start really addressing what accountability is, who needs to be held accountable. At what point do we really start to ask the question of whether or not anybody really even knows what the fuck accountability is at this point? Shouldn't the people that broke down the gate be held accountable? Shouldn't Travis Scott be held accountable? Shouldn't the people that let Travis Scott take complete control and authority and autonomy of the security for the concert be held accountable? Shouldn't the person that owns that venue be held accountable? Shouldn't the hospitals that didn't come to disperse to that concert quick enough to I don't know, don't they have radios to call hospitals and say we need more EMTs? There are 100,000 people here. There are hundreds of people that are lying on the ground right now. What is accountability at the end of the day? Who is everybody accountable? We need to start having these questions, because the more I start to have discussions with people in society and life, the more I start to realize that even people that I align myself with don't necessarily really understand what I really believe in, and what a lot of you might really believe in as well. I know we can't all agree on everything, but there's not enough of the right question being asked in a lot of these situations. People are too one-track minded to, oh, I don't like this person because this. Oh, I don't like this music because this. Oh, I don't like this actor because this. Oh, I don't want to do this because this. Oh, I don't want to marry this person because this. Oh, I don't do this because that. And you're forming such simple trains of thought, and you're failing to see the bigger picture here. You're failing to see the bigger picture here. All right? You're failing to see the bigger picture here. I don't know if I can say that. I don't know. I don't know if I can say that. I gotta be careful. Anyways, I'm gonna read some comments really quickly. Jeez. Thank you, NW, for the super chat. I can see it in the YouTube studio. I'm not sure what you said, but thank you for the super chat, and I assume that it's something with support, so I appreciate that. For the $2 super chat. I can't see the message, though. You see, the Travis Scott concert, it's not just a concert. The Travis Scott concert is almost an experiment. It's almost like this experiment, like this realization. Where's my creepy music? Where's my creepy music go? Let me turn on my creepy music. Hold on. It's very interesting, man. The amount of delusion, the amount of victim blaming, the amount of obvious. Let me take this banner down. I'm tired of that banner. The amount of obvious irresponsibility on so many fronts. It's a very interesting situation here. Hold on 1 second. Don't steal my creepy music song, yeah. All right. For the dramatic worse. Yeah, absolutely. Good to see up in the Unicorn channel member of the chat. Good to see Organic Black channel member of the chat moderating and being a channel member. Good to see y'all in the building. And everybody else that's a channel member. Forgive me, y'all. I looked at the concert and I saw it was kind of what happens all the time. Once again, this is an outrage because a lot of white people never experience, even black people. You saw black kids. I've never seen death in my life, right? Yeah, a lot of different levels of people that were in a lot of different places in life that were at this concert. Let me turn this down a little bit. Golly, that was loud. Sorry. Yeah, a lot of different people that were a lot of different places in life at this concert, and they all meshed as one. They all meshed as one. They all meshed as one. No, I'm not making this about any type of race or whatever it might be. I'm not. Even though it's horrible that Travis Scott just released a song on YouTube called Escape Plan, like the day before this dropped. Even though it's horrible that there's a lot of bad things, even though it's horrible that his apology was horrible. I mean, it was terrible. He was kind of like, man, I'm just so sorry. I just want to apologize. I just want to say I'm sorry about everybody. It was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if that's going to do it, right? I don't know if that's going to do it. I don't think that was the right way to do it personally. But I don't know. I don't know. The damage is done, right? The damage is done. In life, there are going to be Travis Scott concerts. In life, there are going to be times when you need to run. There's so many times when I should have run and I didn't run. There's so many times when you should have run, but you didn't run. And there are a lot of times when you ran. And maybe you wish that you shouldn't have run. I don't know. It depends on you. It depends on you. You have to call your own shots in life. You have to call it. But there are a lot of Travis Scott concerts that are going around. And whether or not you place the blame on Travis Scott is irrelevant because Travis Scott's not in the crowd with you. Travis Scott's not going to save you. Travis Scott's going to look out for Travis Scott because Travis Scott pays Travis Scott's bills. Nobody else pays Travis Scott's bills, even though you technically paid his bills. Even though you technically paid $400 to get into his concert, you technically pay his bills. But he's still going to look out for Travis. That's why the show must always go on, no matter the destruction. The show's going to go on. Why? Money. Duh. Money. I'll mute you for a second. Good to see you, Uppity. Give me 1 second. Money. Clout. Popularity. That's what we base our value in society on at this point, right? Money, money, clout, popularity, things of that nature, right? So it's very interesting here. It's very interesting. You got, Uppity, go ahead. The floor is yours, Uppity. My hair, y'all, I see I have like a mohawk right now, y'all. My hair's effed up, so forgive me. It's okay, though. I don't care, like most of the time. Uppity, go ahead. The floor is yours. I'm sorry.
Hey, it's really good to see you back online. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was only gone for like a week, but people were like, "Where the guy is?"
The most. It was way too much for our consistent hangout spot. This is like, I don't know if you've seen the show Cheers, but like how those people always hung out at that same bar. Like, this is our bar, and we want to be able to come here like every day if possible. So
I like it, yo. I like it. Well, it's good to be back. My bad, y'all. I'm not gonna take as long next time.
So you know exactly where I want to go with this. So I'm just going to wait on your permission to do that.
Sure. Yeah, of course. Go ahead. Yeah, free reign, Chuck.
All right. So I have what I believe about Hollywood and the culture there. And all of this was done on purpose. And I think that's why you couldn't really get it. Yeah.
Okay, it's about to get real. Okay, so this is more on the spiritual side of it. I just want to kind of put a disclaimer out there.
And that's why I asked you for your permission, because I'm like, how I get down.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay, no, I'm ready. I just want to let people know. I didn't know. My bad. Go ahead. Oh, I stopped sharing my music. I'm sorry.
Okay, so Travis was wearing a t-shirt, and I don't know if you have any footage of that t-shirt, but you can see it's a door, and there are children on one side running to the door, and then on the opposite side there are demons running out.
It's a trip. I actually got that picture. I'll bring it up for you right now. I got that picture. Also, I see you in the background right now. Just give me 1 second. I'll just try and pull up one person at a time so it doesn't mess up the oh, I forgot I'm already sharing the screen. Wait, can I do that? Okay, cool. I see you in the background. Just give me 1 second, okay? Go ahead, Chuck.
So basically you have people exiting and demons entering through the same door, right? This is a different realm. This is what is it? The song Escape Plan. He literally, the theme was see you on the other side. That is apparent. And when it comes to things like the Illuminati and some of these secret societies, they hide things in plain sight. But what I believe and what I've always believed is that society has never gotten rid of human sacrifice. So for so long, people were like, oh, those Mayans, man, those Aztecs, man, I can't believe those savages and how they could do that and whoop-de-woo-woo-woo. Society has never gotten rid of that kind of thing. And so many people who are in power and in control, some of what they practice is human sacrifice. In reality, so there was an owl there, right? We know Drake wears owls. We know lots of people in the industry, they have these owls. And what we know about our politicians, whether they were involved in the fraternity of Skulls and Bones or not, is that they go to something called the Bohemian Grove. And at the Bohemian Grove, you have, this huge, huge owl, right? And that owl is Moloch. Moloch. And if you Google that right now, that's a Canaanite deity, right? So before the Canaanites, became these, God-believing Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, whatever, there were gods who predated that, or deities that they worshipped before that. Mm-hmm. And Moloch, in order to get what you need from Moloch, human sacrifice is required. And he only accepts children. So keep in mind, Travis Scott,
right?
He let in tons of kids, so long as their parents had a ticket. Now, at every festival, every concert, whatever it is, there's a capacity, right? So let's say you get into an elevator and it's like, look, not over 5,000 pounds, right? Because if you get over that, what's going to happen? It's probably going to malfunction. So we honor these rules of capacity. If you go to a theater, I used to, Langston Hughes Theater or the Paramount Theater, both of those are in Seattle. And
that's the picture you're talking about right here. The Travis Scott entrance. I know that's his logo for his concert, but
no, that's not the picture that I'm talking about, but this is still along the same. I mean, if you just stare at the picture, you'll see what's going on. You'll see where people are being led to with music being entranced, right? And art imitates reality. So there's that. But basically, Moloch isn't, depicted by an owl. And here's the deal. There's a certain vibration that things have to be at in order for certain entities to come. Like, you can't gain the company of angels if you are a certain kind of person. Likewise, you can gain the company of demons if you are a certain kind of person. And whether, I mean, demons are different. Some are good, some are bad, some are in the middle. They're like human beings, right?
And we'll try and kind of not wrap it up, Chalk, but take your time. We'll try, and I just want to have. Oh, never mind. Ended up leaving. Take your time because they're gone now.
Okay, I was totally fine with wrapping up. By the way, just so you know. But basically, I mean, if you look at all this stuff and put it all together, like, it's pretty intentional. And, you know, my partner is a Mason. So we talk about, you know, 33rd level Masons and all these different, there are things he can't tell me because they're sworn to secrecy, right? So anybody who belongs to some of these fraternal and sororal, you know, orders, they're just some things they can never tell you. And also there are different levels, right? So you have a 33rd level Mason versus a, you know, beyond that, and what they know and what you don't know. But these are rituals, and these give people power to rule, to do whatever. Like, these things are very real as your Jesus, as real as your Allah, as real as whatever it is you believe in. So are demons, and so are, you know, we have a way where if I just pray enough to Jesus, and if I just fast enough, and if I confess with my mouth and believe with my heart that this and this, there's a level of salvation that comes to you, and you get your prayer requests granted. Likewise, when you're doing this with demons, with Goetia, with whatever you're working with, it's the same thing. You can get those things granted.
And I know you got some support in the chat. So you got you know, people agreeing with you. I believe that there's a lot more than meets the eye as well. And so I appreciate you sharing that with us, Uppity. That was some very, very, very unique perspective. And I'd like to hear more about that, to be honest with you. I'd like to hear more about that. And I think that it's very needed, you know, very needed to talk about. I believe it. This is my truth, right? So, and on the episode, maybe we'll have a spiritual type episode in the future. You know, we can kind of discuss and talk about things more on a spiritual level. It's a lot that's going on. As far as this situation, I'm not going to pin this on anything. All right. I think that there's a lot going on here, whatever it might be, you know. But it's interesting. Regina, go ahead. The floor is yours, Regina.
Hello again. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good, Regina. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. This very interesting topic that you have going on right now. Very glad to hear you guys talking about this because I'm not very religious, but I am very spiritual. So regardless of what you believe, you know, there's something bigger than all of us. Just putting that out there. Right. We are made of 70% of water. The earth is made up of more than 70% of water. If that is a coincidence, it's a coincidence that we need to take note of because water has memory. With water, it can, if you put, a Japanese scientist, he did an experiment with water. He played two different noises to two different sounds. He played Amazing Grace, and then he played some dark, heavy metal type music. The Amazing Grace water molecules were shaped into a snowflake, this very beautiful type symbol. And then the dark, heavy metal music was distorted. The molecules were ugly. So basically, my point of today is you are listening to this music, and your molecules are soaking up this negative sound. What is that turning you into as a person?
That's very, yeah, I mean, that's exactly, I completely 1000% agree. That's it right there. And so you're talking about it on an even deeper level than maybe just consciously realizing and acting on the lyrics or getting turned up by the lyrics, but it penetrates you in a way that's deeper to where even subconsciously or unconsciously, you don't see how it affects you. It actually changes the essence of your being at your core.
Exactly. It's a biomolecular level. Like, it's not just spiritual, it's also your body.
Yeah. I want to read this comment really quickly, and thank you for that, Regina. I appreciate that. Well, we're going to put you down for a second, and if you want to say something else, just unmute yourself and speak up whenever you'd like to, okay?
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Classic Ruby says this: did you know that anybody can look at any grave mistake you make and find a way to villainize and demonize you for it, paint it like some intentional sick plan, especially using the Bible? This is why I don't really cover the spirituality thing as much, right? And I'm very slow to talk about this because I want to legitimately be able to have conversations. Now, obviously, politics, religion, and sports, things that people are never going to agree on. But religion, I think, is going to be the most fanatic in this case, or the most splitting, divisive, passionate, whatever word. Maybe fanatic's not the right word, so forgive me. But you're going to have a lot of people who feel very strongly about religion. So I'm very careful because I don't know what you believe, Classic Ruby. But once again, I'm not just even holding, aside from religion, any one person at fault for this concert in particular. But what you're saying is what I'm trying to address, the bigger problem here. So for instance, everybody sees this concert and they're so quick to, victim blame. Oh, these people rush, these people this, these people that. Even the people that are broke down the barriers are the ones that are victim blaming, I'm sure right now, the ones that are online saying, I can't believe things were this crazy. The people that broke down the barrier, right? Even they fall victim to the same problems that they're claiming afflict them so, right? This is a very interesting thing. So you saying this is interesting because what it says is, and I'm not coming at you in any kind of way, Classic, so I'm just trying to formulate this as respectfully as possible, right? It's a grave mistake to villainize and demonize for somebody for using the Bible and claiming it's an intentional sick plan. I'm not sure. We don't know if it was a sick plan or not. If it was a sick plan, then your statement wouldn't have as much validity to it, right? If there was some kind of truly sick, malicious, demonic, Illuminati type, ritualistic type event that they planned for this concert to be, then your statement wouldn't have validity. Now, some would say that sounds a bit outlandish. Some would say that there's a strong chance for it. Let me say something, all right? I've learned not to put anything past human beings, all right? I've learned not to put anything past anybody. I've learned to understand that I don't know everything that happens on Earth. I'm a smart guy, but I don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. So I think in cases like this, and in conversations like this, both about Travis Scott and about politics and religion, and whether you think that the Second Amendment needs to be had, or whether you think that this person's a good person for your brother or sister, I don't know, whatever it is, conversations of balance need to be had, and conversations need to be had on a certain level to where both people can understand where both sides are coming from. Because if both people can understand where both sides are coming from, then the chance of this not happening in the future starts to go up. But so long as you have one person saying the problem is that you're using the Bible to do this, and then the Bible person saying the problem is you're not using the Bible to do this, then you're just butting heads at this point, right? You're butting heads, and there's not going to be any type of progress, right? So you're trying to push forward, you're butting heads, and you're probably pushing backwards because the world's progressing, but you're too busy fighting each other right now for this little piece of correctness, for this little piece of the world. We got a whole world out here, and people are fighting to be able to claim the street number that they live on, right? But this is the mentality of people. It's not right because according to my morale, and once again, Classic, I'm not getting onto you, but I'm just using you in this specific sense as a point, because even from your perspective, you're assuming that your perspective is the moral one. Now, it might be the truly moral perspective. However, morality, when it comes down to religion, is a very, very, very gray area topic of discussion. I know great people that are Muslims. I know bad people that are Muslims. I know great people that are Christians. I know bad people that are Christians. I know great people that are Buddhists. I don't know any Buddhists now that I'm thinking about it. I don't know a single Buddhist, so I'm lying. But you understand what I'm trying to say, right? They're good and bad. It rains on the just and the unjust. Good things happen to bad people. Bad things happen to good people, vice versa. We can switch them. We can talk about the semantical type of idea all day long. At the end of the day, though, we've all done bad things. And to some extent, we have to be able to say, hey, this is right, this is wrong, but I can't judge you with infinite wisdom and glory because I've done pretty messed up stuff too. We need to start having more of those types of conversations. And then when you have a conversation like that and you approach particularly somebody like Uppity is extremely understanding. She'll see a conversation or she see a comment like that, and she'll say, hey, I understand why you feel that way. But not everybody's like uppity. As a matter of fact, if you've been a member on this channel, if you've watched, I don't know, any stream within the last few months here, you'll start to see a lot of people who, even if they are members or old members of this channel, they're not really made from the same cloth as maybe what the theme or the brand of your identity of what you want to live life in, right? But until you find yourself on this mosh pit together with these people, you don't realize who the hell you're in this mosh pit with, and then shit gets crazy, and then shit gets shaken up real quick, and all of a sudden you're like, fuck, I can't breathe. Where the fuck did things go wrong? But by that time it's too late, and you're trying to sit back and pick the pieces of the puzzle up. So everybody feels they know what their pieces of the puzzle are. I don't know all the pieces of the puzzle. I don't know everything. I just know that there are more pieces of the puzzle that can be found when we start to collectively think and reason amongst those of us in society who are logical enough to realize that not everybody knows anything, that are logical enough to realize that we need the assistance, that we need the help of our community, that we need the help of our people, that we need the help of everybody that we can get on our side as possible. So when the dust storm comes, or if quote unquote winter comes, whatever that might be at this point, if winter does come, we got each other on our side. But even in this case, and even in this sense, we joke about as black people not being joined as black men and black women when winter does come. We joke about when the boogeyman does show up, being so proud in the fact that we have enough confidence in ourselves as people that we don't need the other side. We don't need the other side because other races of people got us. There are other races of people out there. They're this, they're this, they're that, they're this, they're this. So even in the very solution in our argument, there's still a problem because the problem is ourselves. There's so many parallels to this concert and to what I see in communities and to what I see and what I've experienced in these past couple of weeks. And it's tough. You know, it's tough when you try and point out, you know, what the problem is, because a lot of the times people don't want to hear what the problem is. And you see this a lot of the times, right? You got people that go to the doctor. They don't want to go to the doctor because they don't want to know if something's wrong, because sometimes knowing that something's wrong is worse than knowing something's not wrong. Right? This is going to sound horrible. For those of you who partied a lot in college, and for those of you who are very sensually promiscuous, this is going to sound horrible. But trust me, I'm with you on this one. When you finally do go to the clinic and you're like, you know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and take a test. You know, I think it's time to take a test. Chain me to the cross. I don't care. I think it's time to take a test. You get a little worried and you start thinking, you know what? I don't know if I made the best decisions in my life now at this point. And then all of a sudden you spike to a level of anxiety that you never felt before in your life. And you start convincing yourself that it's over. You start convincing yourself that it's going to be bad, that the worst negative outcome and possibility that can happen is going to happen because of your bad decisions. But we're trying not to get to that point to where we start thinking and putting ourselves into that place. But a lot of people don't really care until they're in that place. A lot of people don't feel, they can't feel until they get into that place. There's no learning that can happen before they get to that place. There's no learning that can happen before they get to jail. Some people have to go to jail. Some people have to go to prison. Some people have to sit down. Some people have to have horrible things happen to them. You just hope that the horrible things that are happening to the people aren't happening because of a lack of infrastructure from the bad people realizing that there's a lack of infrastructure and causing the good people to go through shit that the bad people should be going through. And that's what I see a lot of what's going on right now. Good people are going through bad shit. What can you do? What can you do? Right? Nobody knows all the answers. And I understand we all have religious beliefs. And oh, I forgot. That's not Zoom again. Sorry. My bad, y'all. Hold on. Nobody has all the answers. All right, I could do that for hours, so it is good enough for it is. Regina, your devices are connected, so if you want to speak again, then hop on up, Regina. So yeah, I sat back and I watched this and I just studied and I just wanted to learn as much as I could about this, because at first when I heard about this, I was like, what's going on? And I saw people die and I was like, oh, well, that's horrible. I thought that they were all 18 something above. And I saw a 9-year-old died. And I was like, why is a 9-year-old at a Travis Scott concert? But why is a 14-year-old calling on my platform trying to teach me about women right now? Why is a 14-year-old trying to teach me about masculinity right now? Why are people that are not in the position that they should be teaching people, leading people, what is going on with the state of leadership, to where in our community, in the Black community, those who are the most authoritative figures are, for the most part, the most degenerate? Now, white people come to the concert, they're like, what the is going on here? I've been to a Justin Timberlake concert. It was never this crazy. I've been to Warped Tour. It was crazy. We passed out, but the EMTs were there right there. What's going on? Everybody's like, this is like hell. This is not a race thing. I'm not trying to make it a race thing. I'm just trying to mirror a lot of the messages that we've been saying on this channel for a long time. And that there's a lot of stuff going on here, right? There's a lot of stuff going on here. You can have all the money in the world. You can make all the money in the world. If you are not a judicious, is pernicious a right word to use there? Somebody Google that for me. Give me a one if I'm good. Pernicious. If you are not a moral, mentally based, sound judge of mind, if you are not where you need to be as a person, as a human being, if you do not have actual value as a person, it does not matter how much you make. It does not matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what you smell like, what kind of clothes you have. It does not matter what concerts you're going to, what car you're going to get there. If you're riding Uber Black, if you're riding Lyft special, if you're just walking there, it doesn't matter if you bummed a ride. It doesn't matter where you are in life, because at the end of the day, once shit hits the fan, listen, you don't think there are rich people that were standing in the middle of that concert? You don't think that there are people that had family members, that had parents, that had fathers, that had $50 million in the bank, that had family members that owned companies? You don't think that there are people also in that concert that didn't even have a single penny on them, that just came to the concert and spent all the money that they had there because they wanted to experience that? Everybody is going to feel the wrath of winter if winter really does come. You better believe it. You better believe it. You better believe it. Because when it finally does, when the boogeyman finally shows up, he shows up, he shows up, and you just hope and you pray to God that people get the message. But a lot of people don't care. A lot of people don't care. Let's listen to Be Graceful. Be Graceful. Welcome to the panel. Be Graceful. I like your name. I like the lions. I like your avatar. What did you think? Or what did you have to say on this entire Travis Scott situation? What did you think?
Hi. Good night, everyone. Good night.
Hi, good night.
Thank you for welcoming me on. Blessings. So this is the thing, right, with this world that we live in here.
Uh-huh.
You're gonna have different religion. People can do what they want to do. I told my kids, God is not around here choking nobody. Yeah, he is not around here choking nobody. Okay, so if you want, you do what you want to do. But we all gonna die. So you can speak what you want to speak. You can say what you want to say. You can say you're gonna come back. But you're not gonna be coming back. You're not gonna be coming back. You can say you can make up all the different things you want to make. You can create what you want to create, but you're gonna answer to someone. We're all gonna answer to someone. You can make up, you can speak what you want to speak, you can create how you want to create, you can do what you want to do. And that's the fun thing about God. That's why if you're a Christian, you don't need to walk around trying to beat nobody, the Bible into their head. Leave them alone. Do what you gotta do. And leave it alone. Don't run up your pressure for it. Leave them alone, because sometimes it hurts just to see somebody going the wrong way. Leave it alone. God will deal with it. He will use somebody. If it's just not supposed to be used, then time up. You time up when you go up there. Just how the Bible play out, it plays right out, and then it's gonna be like your mouth is open. By that time, it's done. That's a whole different realm. A lot of people don't know how that realm feels. Not gonna go into that stuff right now, but I think for the concert thing, it's sad. It's sad. That's sad. First of all, look at how all those people's bodies are being squeezed up. And I was sitting to myself saying, for the people that was in the middle or wherever they're at, because some people are naive. We got to look at some of the people that's naive there. That child that fell, because sometimes you can try to create a little circle, right? If like man and woman, you can try to create a strong circle where you push. You can try to use your body to push back to try to take up a child, but you have to have that in. You have to have that in your spirit to want to be a hero. It have to be in you to be like no, because there's got to be somebody behind that person that can see it. But some people, they're selfish. They don't care. They feel like, oh, if this happened, let's just push. So when we go home, I don't care. I get to sleep, and that's why some of them they can't sleep and now they got to take medication. All these curses end up on them. They can't sleep. They have a whole bunch of bodies on their name. You understand? There's a lot of people that did stuff. They didn't get locked up for it. and then
Right.
you don't know what's wrong with them. They have all type of issues going on with them, unnecessary, not just regular mental issues, but unnecessary curses upon their lives later on. They talk about all this other stuff. They don't know where it's coming from. They go to the doctor, can't get no help on it. They don't ask where this comes from. It came from that concert, probably. Remember that little boy? I'm just making an example. Remember that little boy that you did see, that God did show you, but because you're so stuck in your ways, his family is now crying out. And people don't understand that tears, just like how the witches and stuff believe in some demonic stuff, tears, when it hit the ground, God hears that. God also feels blood when it hit the ground. So yeah, just like how the Satan doing their thing, God doing his thing too. God feels that, and when he feels that, that's when the earth moves, and that's why COVID shut down the whole place. So we're not gonna play with God. He just sitting here just watching everybody. Just do your thing. Just do your thing. Do what you wanna do. He gonna save who he wanna save. If you want to be saved, he gonna save you. He know who's supposed to be saved. He know if I'm gonna be saved. He know. Even if you say you saved right now and then you switch and you backslide, God knows. He knows. Can't judge nobody, but you can tell people if what's right and what's wrong. You can tell somebody, okay, that's wrong for looking at little kids that way. You can tell somebody that's wrong for doing your family that way. That is not judging. That's correction. Just like when the police officer stops somebody outside and says something, that's correction for some. I'm not talking about the evil ones. When a teacher go to a child in school and tell the child, okay, telling them the right thing to do, that's correction. That's not judging. That's warning you. But you know what God do? Before he make anything happen, he always send warning. And the reason why some people are so upset with the church is because the church do a lot of crazy stuff, some of them. And they push people away. So people get angry and start to say, is God this and there's no God. But there's a God. But God said he's going to judge the church first. I want to let the church people on here know, if you did something bad, you need to start repenting for the people that you hurt, because you pushed them out of the church and now they're acting crazy out there.
That's deep. Be graceful. I appreciate that. Listen, you got some supporters in the chat. Some respectfully agree and some respectfully disagree.
I'm not here to disagree or to agree. I don't care. I'm not walking around choking nobody. I don't care.
Right.
They don't have to agree. They don't have to care.
Right. Yeah,
They don't
definitely.
have to listen. So I don't care. I know that the demonic realm is real, but I know that God is realer. So that's why God supposed to give the Bible to give knowledge to teach people about the demonic realm. You're supposed to understand these stuff. But I'm happy that people are starting to confess their sins. And that's good. So now people can see what these things look like. Nobody not hiding no more. You've been had witches in the Bible and all that. This ain't nothing new.
True.
Ain't nothing new.
Be graceful. I appreciate your call. I think that you bring a very interesting perspective, right? Obviously from, more religious or traditional religious belief. And so I appreciate that. And we'll have some of the comments in the chat. Check out some of the comments. You have a lot of people that agree with you, though. And once again, I appreciate you coming on to the panel, okay?
Good day, everybody. And remember, God is not choking nobody right here. You do what you want to do. And if you want to serve him, you serve him. You want to serve him, you keep praying for you, whatever. Thank you. Bye.
She said whatever. We'll pray for you, whatever. All right, be graceful is great. That's New York right there. That's New York all the way. You can tell. She's gonna pray for you or whatever. So you have somebody praying for you, out there. Hey, ladies and gentlemen. These topics are gonna definitely be intense, but I think they're gonna be good topics. They're gonna be interesting topics. Wait till you see some of the other topics. If y'all think this is crazy, you can be like, truth, what the heck? But there's a reason that I'm going to be talking about this, and there's still going to be, so just bear with me. It's going to be interesting. It's going to get good. Of the unicorns, as many communities were created and destroyed before us. Absolutely agree. And many still exist. Tin Mark says there's good and bad in every race, tongue, and tribe in the world. Nobody's perfect, and we're not going to be until the day of the Lord, if you believe in Jesus Christ. Tin, I appreciate your comment. A couple more comments here. NDB said, somebody get lovely tea on the line. That'd be nice. Half over, right? Let me see, Tone, once again, respectfully agree, disagree. Let's see if I missed anything really in particular. Up in Unicorn says, I was once carried backwards by a crowd in Makkah, where the Hajj is performed, because I tried walking in the opposite direction. That's a trip. Mecca. Okay, I hope I'm saying that right. So forgive me, y'all, if I'm not. Where Muslims gather. That's crazy. Carried by a crowd. One bad gal says, "Yeah, I was done when that dude described it, and he said he felt like he was in hell." Hopefully we're ready for the new topics. Live and let live. Love Lady says they want to be. I shouldn't even be laughing at this. It's not even. Divesting is, really for dating, but I think all of us have a rap song that we like, all of us are guilty of that for sure. Just wanted to kind of talk about how I interpreted the situation and what I saw, right? How I saw it. Anyways, y'all, I appreciate y'all. Listen, we're going to be back. Got more live streams coming up, more pre-recorded videos coming up. Actually, one's dropping tomorrow, so you're going to enjoy the pre-recorded video dropping tomorrow. I appreciate everybody that's giving me pigeon music. Yeah. Everybody that's giving me content and submitting news articles to me. I have a lot of news articles now, so you can stop. You don't have to keep submitting them. But if you just have something that you just want me to cover, just put like something in the subject line of the email, like alert, or just put Jonathan, read this, please. Jonathan, this is serious, and I'll do my best to cover it in the pre-recorded video, unless it's serious enough that we need to make it alive, right? So we're back to our usual schedule, and get ready. We got some really cool things that are coming up here, and I've been talking with a lot of cool people, so interviews are getting ready to crank up, and they're going to be pretty trippy interviews, pretty trippy interviews. I just want to say that we're getting ready to talk to a lot of people right now, right? We're getting ready to talk to a lot of people, so when we're asking questions and when we come up to the panel to ask people questions, let's try and, not be, I understand we need to hold people accountable, right? But a lot of the people that we're getting ready to talk to don't quite understand a lot of the things that we say. So I want to be very careful because we're going to be talking to a lot of very interesting people in the next month or so, right? Actually quicker than that, but within the next month, within the next few weeks, to some pretty serious characters. But I want to start having these conversations, a discussion, because when we see each other, when we have these conversations, when we see somebody online, we just see another person. When you see somebody driving a car, you just see another car moving on the road. You don't realize that it's a person that has a life story, that has history, that's driving, that's operating this vehicle, that feels some type of way. And it's never been more obvious and apparent than now to me that we need to really start having more conversations because there's no progress happening. We're moving backwards, if I'm being completely honest with you. Both in our community relations and outside of our community relations, we're just moving backwards. Both with black people, black relations, and black people, white relations. In my opinion, we're moving forward in a lot of good ways too, but in some ways we're moving backward with relations with white people. And so I want to start having these discussions because the people that we're getting ready to talk to, some of these people have never, and this is going to sound crazy, but they've never spoken to a white person before, right? Some of these people have never had the opportunity to share what's happened in their life before. And some of these stories that I've heard from these guys, I've been on the streets, man. I've been on the streets this past week. I've been out of the studio and I've been just talking to guys. And having conversations with these guys that I ran into a lot of the time. And some of these guys have some pretty tripped out things to say. And I think it's time we start really hearing what these guys have to say and start hearing what they have to say as well to what we have to say. Don't worry, I'm not going to leave y'all hanging. We're going to be back soon. You're going to see it soon. And you're really going to enjoy it. So if you haven't turned on the notification bell, if you haven't done it yet, this is the time to definitely do it. Switching some things up. Some things change. Some things are going to remain for sure. But it's going to be for the better. It's going to be for the better. This platform is going to grow, and the image of this platform has to scale. I have to scale this image at a bigger size. I got to make all races of people able to dive into this content. I got to make all races of people able to plug in and identify, and I have to really start putting it on another scale now. So I've been trying to figure out what I'm going to do, and I figured a lot of it out. So y'all stay tuned. We're going to wrap this up. Make sure that we subscribe to and follow all of our content creators. They might not want me to mention them, so if they don't like me anymore, then forgive me. I'm sorry mentioning you, Mokomami, Uppity Unicorn, who's in the chat right now. I don't think I'm going to mention anybody else just because I don't know if I should. So thank you, everybody that donated and contributed. We're going to roll the outro. I'm going to see you in a few days, but I'll see you tomorrow as well. and we're going to get some things cranked out, y'all. So stay tuned. I love you so much. I can't thank you enough for being here. I'll get back for the $10 super chat says welcome back. And I thank you for welcoming me. It's good to be back. Gulf Coast Granny says I'm here for a truth. Make sure you check out Gulf Coast Granny's live stream. She does them every so often. I believe Fridays, and definitely every Friday night's a live stream. You'll enjoy it. Very entertaining, wholesome content. More what we need in this world. We have shocking content coming up, y'all. Shocking content. Once again, respect for the guests. They're not necessarily terrible people. They have some serious stories, and I'm excited for you to hear them. I love you all. I will talk with you soon. I'm going to roll to the outro. It's my creepy house. And it's time to get creepier. So here we go. Good night. See you soon. I want to say also, shout out to Kier. Shout out to Kier 101. Shout out to Kier for all your support. Kier, I love you. And we'll see y'all soon. Sorry, y'all.